Hello everyone, and welcome back to... Glad to see everybody still here with us. I can only assume that between the time that I recorded this and the time that it's being uploaded, that even more new content has somehow been released, and multiple fires and riots have broken out across the land. On the 28th day of John Locke, Sid gave to us the top 10 fandom moments. Now here's my favorite Philly resident, sorry Charlie Kelly, with more.
It has been torturous existing within the Sherlock fandom the last 3 years. Particularly so for those of us within the TJLC community, I think. Apart from coming to the collective realization that John and Sherlock were going to get together, and then having to wait an agonizing amount of time for it, we've also dealt with incredible backlash from just about everyone. Luckily, however, even our more wanky moments over the last few years have ended up giving us some fandom favorites, such as, are you fucking saying that psychopath murderers can't be feminist? Holy shit. And who could forget that time Anti posted a photo of French toast and told us to shut up and eat some waffles? I'm Sid, and for my TJLC admin video, I'm going to be taking you through the Sherlock fandom's top 10 moments since Series 3 and the birth of TJLC. Now, this in no way was, agreed upon by the fandom or voted on in any kind of way. I just picked some of my favorite stuff and put them in some semblance of an order that made sense. So, disclaimer, not official, like any of this is, whatever. So jumping right into it, number 10 is the confirmation of the Victorian gay fever dream. So shortly after the release of this photo, and once Setlock was underway, a lot of people within the TJLC community began to speculate on how the Abominable Bride and a Victorian setting would fit into the narrative of our John and Sherlock. So despite Mark and Steven's insistence that the special would stand alone and have no connection to the rest of the story, a good portion of us knew that that was bullshit. It didn't take a whole lot of theorizing to come to the idea that we were being given a dream sequence, especially after we'd seen them filming scenes in modern dress. Of course, this movement was made even more important retroactively once we'd all seen The Abominable Bride, and our theory was confirmed correct. So that's number 10. Number 9, Water as Emotions, and the adoption of Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten. So upon the release of the teaser, where they're sitting in the flat, and the water is everywhere, we finally, as a group, made the realization that water is meant to symbolize emotions on the show. The teaser showing John and Sherlock sitting ankles deep in a flood in the middle of their flat with the phrase, "It's not a game anymore," flashing across the screen made that apparent enough. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure how we got from there to release your inhibitions, but it happened, and it felt right. So number 8 on the list is that time a couple months ago when Michael Price and David Arnold announced that they had a very special group of fans in mind while composing the score for Series 4. So on September 27th, David Arnold tweeted, "You're a special group of people, and we have you in mind whilst we continue writing and recording for S4. Love from me and Michael Price." To which Michael Price then retweeted, adding, "Amen." Now for context, these tweets came out only a few short weeks after Rebecca's soundtrack and score episode of TJLC Explained, so make of that what you want. Number 7 on the list is the very recent answer time that Mark and Steven did for Tumblr while promoting Series 4. It was baffling to learn that Mark and Steven were going to do a Tumblr answer time to promote Series 4. Fandom-wide calls were made to refrain from asking any TJLC or John Locke related questions in an effort to maintain the secret and to not get discouraged when they inevitably lied about the upcoming series. So, on the surface, it looked like that was exactly what happened, but in the hours immediately following the Q&A, a lot of people started to dig into the answers to their questions, and it seemed like they'd been speaking in codes a little bit, or confirming things by way of deflecting, or what have you. And we'll see this come up again in the countdown later. So number 6 on the list is Richard Sykin, or Bob Sykin. After the airing of Series 3, a lot of people started comparing it to the poetic works of Richard Sykin, making edits and posts under the tag Sykinlock, with screen caps from the show, GIFs, accompanied by Sykin poems. As we're prone to, TJLCers got incredibly enthusiastic with this idea, and eventually somehow the poet himself became aware of our existence. So Bob a nickname mistakenly given to Richard by our very own Arlo, popped up on Tumblr and started shipping John off with us. That's a real thing that happened. This lasted for a good few weeks. He even promised to write us John off fanfiction for free. However, our dear Uncle Bob disappeared off of Tumblr before his fic ever saw the light of day. Tragic. We don't blame him. If you're out there, Uncle Bob, you're watching, we love you, we miss you. Number 5 on the list, the drink code collaboration. So the drink code in BBC Sherlock is exactly the type of thing about the show that the rest of the population would tell you that you're looking too deeply into. But even with just a little bit of background info, it immediately just proves itself. The drink code is based on a line from The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes, where Holmes refers to Watson as his glass of tea, while trying to convince an interested ballerina that he and Watson are in a relationship. There are plenty of coded drinks that have been uncovered in this awesome collaborative effort, but the 2 favorites, tea being representative of gay relationships, and coffee representing straight relationships. We recently had this theory confirmed by Stephen during the Tumblr answer time, where an anonymous person asked, do you prefer coffee or tea? To which Stephen replied, coffee, Mark handles the tea. Tea is gay. So number 4 on the list is small. You've heard it used about cute baby animals, Louis Tomlinson, for some reason, probably the lead singer of some emo band, I don't know. I guess anything that anyone could perceive as cute. Small. SMOL. Small is a term coined by our very own Leo to describe Benedict Cumberbatch's incarnation of Sherlock. Isn't Ben C pretty tall? You might be saying to yourself, wouldn't John be small and Sherlock be tall? Not at all, my friend. See, when Leo was describing Sherlock as small, he was referring to his metaphysical state and his emotional state as a tiny gaby. Tall is not a thing. Small is probably the most widespread Sherlock fandom original meme, and we've got Leo to thank for that. Okay, the top 3 now. So number 3 on the list is the John Locke Fanzine Project. The John Locke Fanzine was a non-profit collection of fan works organized by Ashley, Phoenix, Jules, Bruna, sorry if I missed anybody, just a few weeks ago, with more than 50 contributors and over 150 pages of content. And all of the proceeds towards the project were donated to LGBT organizations that were chosen via polling. Like, what? That's beautiful. Bye. Number 2 is the Flowers for Moffat / Thank You BBC Sherlock project that we did after Series 3 took home 7 Emmys, I think. So following Series 3, Sherlock received an outpouring of Emmy nominations, and our crew took home 7 out of 11, I'm pretty sure, that they were up for. Needless to say, we were super thrilled. And right around this time, Stephen was also quoted as saying something about how Tumblr hates him or something. So to prove him wrong, we came together and submitted love notes to the cast and crew and everybody at thankyoubbcsherlock.tumblr.com. We also pulled money to buy a bouquet of flowers for Mark, Stephen, Sue, the cast, everyone at Heartswood. In the card on the flowers, we linked them to the blog where we submitted all these nice messages. And I'm pretty sure later they confirmed having seen it all at some panel or something, Comic-Con some year. And finally, number 1 on the list, our greatest and shiniest moment, was the discovery of the BBC's LGB Research Commission, and then shortly thereafter, the Meta by Natty Loud Subtext and TV, Softly Softly. So shortly after the airing of Series 3, and during the incredibly early days of TJLC, Scully, Skulls and Tea uncovered the BBC's LGB Research Report on representation in media, basically, conducted just before the commissioning of Sherlock on BBC One. The report basically called for more explicitly queer characters whose sexuality wasn't the focus of the story, but more like just one more character trait. It also called for fully developed queer characters whose stories were given depth and time to unfold. After Scully found this report, the fandom exploded in Meta, including Softly Softly by Natty, which is the one that did it for me personally. From what we had seen on screen in Series 3, to the uncovering of this incredibly damning research study from the BBC, as well as the meta that tied everything together, TJLC had its foundation. Wardrobe change. No, just kidding, my camera cut out, as you may have noticed. So I gotta reshoot the end now. Anyway, putting this as our number 1 fandom moment because I think it felt like getting the last piece of information needed to solve a case. It took what we were thinking of at the time as just an idea and made it a certainty that would only continue to be proven right. So that's it. Some honorable mentions. That time Amanda called me an asshole on Twitter, but then we made up and now she's my mom. When Arwell retweeted Yachty's fake Sherlock crew group text. Any time over the last 3 years that any of us realized that we were not cis or not straight or either or both, And every time anyone started dating or became friends or even got married because of the show. So that's it. Feel free to share any favorite moments that you have that I might have missed. Shout out to Mikey, who was supposed to be in this video with me but couldn't because of school stuff. I still love you. Also a huge thank you to Marcella and Rebecca for doing this countdown to series 4. It's been so much fun and it was such a good idea, and thank you for letting me jump in on it. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope everybody enjoys and survives series 4.
We now have 4 days left until series 4 comes out. That's unreal.